Nice cloudy day, and we welcome you for our first meetup session from Chennai Web Engineering Meetup Community. So how many of you are web developers here? Can you just raise your hands? Cool. I see some backend developers also raising their hands as a front-end developer. That's nice. Okay, so we'll get started with some quick thing like what web developer does, right? So what a front-end web developer does. So this image says what we do. It's not just changing the colors, changing the CSS style sheets, and this is what my friends think that I do as a front-end web developer. But what I do typically, right? This is what I do. I make the backend data transfer, and I make the web experience beautiful, and we make it a luxury. So this is what we do. So whatever kind of things that are there in the backend, so we cover it up and we provide a very beautiful experience. And sorry, this is not to hurt any backend developers or full stack developers in this room. We missed that disclaimer. Okay, and we'll start with a meme. This is something which I really like. Okay, so typically most of the times you see the platforms, when we say the term platform, Uber is a platform, Google is a platform, so most of the time it is just the backend or the set of microservices which provides API, which provides data to the front end. So that is what it is called as a platform. We never say the front end application as a platform, right? And there is always an API which connects the backend and the front end, and front end is something which makes things beautiful in a presentable format and give the end user an experience that they can play around. Okay, so and to build a web application, right, so you can use any technologies, and predominantly as of now there are three major types of web application that are available in the industry, right? So one is you build a pure typical web application like using Next.js, or even I have seen companies using JSP and servlets and building their web applications. The other one is the single page apps, sparse, React.js, right? So it is a client-side rendered app, and it is called as the SPA app. Even Angular are SPA apps. And third one is a kind of app where you can use it in your mobile, install it in your mobile, and get a mobile web experience, which is called as the progressive web apps. It is a kind of alternative to the native mobile apps, but still it is a web application. And there is choice of frameworks, right? So Muthu spoke about multiple frameworks. So it started with HTML, CSS, Angular, React, Next.js. Now, if you go into React documentation, they even don't recommend to create React app. So they wanted to use any of this frameworks like Next.js, Astro, Remix. So those kind of frameworks, right? And we also have Vue, White, Next, whatnot. So, and we never know tomorrow what is going to be relevant. Okay, and there is always a clear demarcation between the front end and the back end, and always there is a integration in the form of APIs. We call it as REST APIs, gRPCs, WebSockets, GraphQLs. So there are multiple modes of integration between the backend and front end. So typically this is how we do a web application development. But in today's session, we are going to talk about micro front end. So the way of building a front end platform. So why do we need to build a front end platform, right? So until this time we were building platform, we were building microservices, tying all this together, right? But do we really need to build a front end platform? Okay. So do you know the top retail websites, right? So the Walmarts or Amazons, do you know whether they use monoliths or micro front end? Have you ever did some analysis on that? They have billions of visitors every day, right? So the microservices is on the back end, but on the front end still they use micro front ends. It is not a single monolith application because of the number of footprints they have. So it is always a micro front end. They are using micro front end. Even when you visit our website ford.com, right? So to you it looks as a single site, but it is not a monolith. Behind the scenes, the ford.com website has multiple applications. Okay, every major companies, right? So their B2C presence or their B2C websites is in the form of micro frontend. They don't term it as micro frontend, but that's how it is structured, and we will see why that is today. Okay. And before we get further into micro frontends, right? So okay, the slide is swapped. I'll get into micro frontends, and then I'll talk about something called as conversion funnel. So what is micro frontend, right? So it is a pattern. It is a pattern that you can apply to your front end web applications, and it is very synonymous to microservices word, or the microservices in the backend world. It is coined by I think Martin Fowler from ThoughtWorks in the year 2013. He coined this word microfrontends. But trust me guys, that is not the time when microfrontends came into existence. So I don't know whether there are developers. I see some faces who are developers since 2000s or 2005s and 6s. The microfrontends is something that is in existence for the past 2 decades. Okay, so how many of you have used iframes here? Yeah, there is quite a number of people who use iframes. Even iframe is an micro front-end pattern actually. Okay, so this micro front-ends was in the existence for quite some time, and very recently it gained its momentum because of various reasons and various value proposition that this micro front-ends provides. Okay, and it can be developed by individual teams. So until this point in time, we used to have separate teams building microservices, and these microservices can be in any technology like Java, Golang, Python. And when we apply this principle to front end, so you build micro front ends, and each of these micro front ends can be managed by separate teams. They can be independent teams, and the choice of their technology framework can also be independent. So one team can use Next.js, the other team can use just the Angular. So the choice of framework, the deployment, development methodologies, everything can be independent of the teams, and that's how you build the micro frontends. Okay, and this also helps to do a individual scaling of each of this micro frontend applications based on the needs. And the key advantage that it provides at the C-suite executives, right? So in a long run, they do a lot of cost savings, and they would be able to add any business features into their application as quick as possible. So how many of you know, like a few years back, right, Swiggy started, and you know, like how much time did they take to implement grocery delivery to Swiggy during the pandemic times? It's less than 2 months. They were able to spin off the grocery delivery within the Swiggy platform. So the thing is, like they have all their front end, back end applications in a modular way, so that any new business feature or a business value they want to roll out to market, they would be able to do it at a fast pace. Okay, so now let's see about conversion funnel. Okay, this may be looking a little bit odd. Why I have put this business slide in a tech meetup event, right? So what is this conversion funnel, and how this is going to be relevant for our topic, right? So in any online transactional website, right? So be it retail commerce, or be it even the automotive website which collects the lead, or a food ordering platform. So there is always it always adheres to this conversion funnel. Okay, so you might have used funnel. It will be very broad at the top, and then it will be narrowed at the bottom, right? So the conversion funnel is something when a person comes into your website, and if he navigates across the website, he does browsing of your products, he looks into the details of your product. So everything goes into the top of the funnel. He is still playing around your website and understanding what are the products that you have, what are things that you have in your catalog. And when it comes to the bottom of the funnel, he or she decides his mind or makes a decision that they want to purchase something, and they get into the bottom of the funnel. So now I will map this to the micro front end and the microservices, right? So typically in an e-commerce website, so you might be using Amazon's, and you might be trying to purchase a phone or a fashion wear or a household item with Amazon, right? So you don't go to different websites like electronics.amazon.com or vegetables.amazon.com. That's not what we do, right? So you get into the Amazon website, you search, and you navigate across the website to find what you want, and all those comes into the top of the funnel, and that will be handled by a separate set of application which can be independently scalable. The reason is when you do a market launch of a particular product, so most of you in this room might have registered yourself to get a Vivo phone or a Oppo phone when they open the registrations, right? So when a new product comes in, the footprints to those pages would be very high. Because of that footprints, the bottom of the funnel users should not get impact, because that's where you get your revenue, right? So you get you do an add to cart, you do a checkout, so you do all your credit card information and make a payment, right? So that shouldn't get impacted. That's a revenue loss to the organization if something goes wrong. Okay, I'll stop a moment, and I just want to ask a question. So a few years back, there was an outage with Amazon. It's not related to the scalability or related to the application. It's for a different purpose. Amazon site went out for 59 minutes. Do you know what is the revenue loss for Amazon? Just a wild guess. Sorry, I don't have a chocolate. Any wild guesses? Sorry?